Coach, just talk about springboarding off of last year and how the offseason went in preparation for this year.
Yeah, I think definitely a different team than last year, a different vibe, but I know for us we're excited for another year, another group, and it's been fun to have last year to build off of, and it's something that we've really sold in the recruiting process and within the team and the culture, and just talking about leaving this program better than you found it and really setting the bar and doing things that haven't been done here. That's exactly what last year's team was able to do. So especially for those players, I think of Mia, Montana Davidson, Annie Willis, the ones who chose Mississippi State for that reason. I think really special to see them go out as seniors last year and to make history for this program. But I think this year, besides losing a couple of those big names, we really return everyone else, and just a lot of experience now. They know what that feels like, and they know that they want that to be the standard, not it to be an every now and then where we get to host an event or we make a super regional. And we're still really working towards that and towards that respect. And for us, it's about, all right, what can we do more of? We're not going to do the same things we did last year to get to that point. We want to raise the bar even more. And how do we raise the standard for Mississippi State softball?
Going off of that, what impact did you see this historic run have on recruiting and on transfer portal?
Yeah, I think it definitely was an immediate impact for us, because right after the season we hit the road recruiting, and just I think a little bit more respect to the program, to the name, and people really recognizing us and what we were doing. And for us, we knew we knew that's what we were working for. We knew that was coming. We know we've got the kids and the support to do that, and now it's just kind of fun to see other people start to buy in and believe what we are doing. And really just looking to bring in kids like this year's freshman class, the top 20 class for us. Next year signed a top 10 class, and just continuing to bring in kids that buy into that belief, that are still going to want to work hard and be blue collar type players, and really know that they come here to work and nothing's going to be handed to us, whether it's on the field or outside of it. And we're going to continue to work to raise the bar and the standard.
What do you think of that freshman class that came in this year?
I'm excited for them. They're a really athletic group. They're hungry. Definitely, I think they understand the change in the mindset, and they've really bought into that, let's make things harder, let's be tougher, and do something different. And I think just overall a more athletic group, and they can really do a lot of things. They can hit for power, they can run, they can play defense. I've got two pitchers in that class, Josie Marin and Reese Berline, who probably will see a lot of time this year. And I think they're more ready than we've had freshmen be in the past to get some innings and just continue to kind of grow to be the next face of Mississippi State softball, especially in the circle. So excited for those two. We've got a lot of other young athletes. Macy Graff, I think, will see some time in the infield. Kiara Sells is probably kind of the underrated one of that group, but man, if she's just not the most just so much talent in that young lady. She's a lot to learn, I think, to understand the speed of this game. It might not be this year you see her out there, but she's one down the line. She reminds me a lot of Chloe Malau'ulu, and if she buys in to just the weight room and the development and the process of it all, she's going to be unreal by the time she leaves.
You talk a lot about the super regional and the success you guys had last season, but I'm sure a lot of those returning players probably wish that the season had gone on even longer. Did you see kind of that hunger in the off season, even though there was a lot of Chiefs still?
Yes, definitely. Really, we saw it immediately after that super regional, after the second loss to Arizona, and they were mad. They were really upset to watch Arizona celebrate on their home field, going to Oklahoma City, and that's exactly what I wanted them to feel. I didn't want them to just be satisfied with making a super regional, with hosting. I wanted them to understand what that feeling is like, what that pressure is to be 2 games away from that goal of being in the Final 8 and in the World Series. So for them, that's something we try to continue to talk about, is remember that feeling, because it's not something we can maybe replicate daily, but if this team continues to share what that felt like with the new players, that's how we kind of understand that the process of what we do daily is going to make a difference. And we do talk about that a lot. We have twice as many practice days as game days, and we have to make sure that we're intentional and really getting after it in the days that we do have together. It's a lot different than travel ball or high school. All they do is really play games. There's not a lot of practice time. So we know that those days are what makes an impact for us, and that if we put in our work on the daily, then when it shows up on game days, that's just when we get to kind of have fun out there.
You talked about some of the members lost from last year's team, and that's a lot of locker room presence, a lot of leadership. Mm-hmm. Who on this year's squad has kind of stepped into that role up to this point?
Chloe Malau'ulu has really always kind of been in that role. She's been voted our team captain the last 2 years, and even the year before was on that same leadership council. So really, for 3 years, she's been a huge leader and presence in the locker room, and really I think just for doing everything the right way. She's a hard worker in the classroom, in the weight room, on the field. She leads by example and with her words, and has really grown in that role. And you can see how it's helped her performance-wise as well. She's gone from, I think she maybe had 4 at-bats her freshman year to a full-time role in year 2. She was SEC All-Defensive Team, and then that grew into second team All-SEC last year. So continue to get better and better and develop on the field. And it's best, you love when one of your best players is your leader, because everyone really buys into what she's saying, and she understands, what the coach's message is, and is one that really helps us enforce that. And I think she's got a good group of players around her, and we kind of have like a leadership council, and that group is Aspen Wesley, Madison Kennedy, and then Kat Wallace, our new player that we added this year. She's a junior college player that was on staff in support staff last year. So we've got a different crew this year, but I think they all have experience. I love having a pitcher on that leadership core, especially Aspen, and she understands what that means, to be the one in the circle with the ball. And I think she's ready for that spotlight to kind of move into Annie Willis's role last year, to be that number 1. She's got the mentality, she's got the stuff, and she really wants to continue. She loves Mississippi State, she loves the state of Mississippi, and she wants to continue to raise this program up. So I'm really excited to see what she does this year as well.
Something you mentioned last year was how much the tough non-conference schedule helped, down the road. What do you think of the non-conference schedule you guys have put together, featuring, Oklahoma, Arizona, Michigan, UCF, all those teams?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to do it again, apparently. I know I give Josh Johnson, our pitching coach, a little bit of gray hair with that, but it's on purpose, and we scheduled tough for this reason, and we know we're going to take lumps early on, but it's for exactly the way it worked out last year. We started off early last season 500, and kind of nervous about the way the year was going to shape out, but when we got to Tallahassee and got to face Florida State in that super regional, you could just tell the shift in the mindset of the team. It was, all right, here's another top 5 team. We've played the rest of them. What's one more? And they weren't afraid. And I don't think we would have said that first weekend out last year facing Oklahoma and UCLA. And so really, it's always been the goal. We're not going to shy away from the competition. I tell Coach Gasso I'm one of the few that is willing to play her. I willingly play her every year. It's not something that I have to do because they're not in our conference yet. But we want to be one of the best, so we're going to continue to play them and see how we measure up against them. And we want to compete. We want to beat them. Really excited that they're coming to Starkville and to get to show her what Mississippi State is about, and just the environment and the fan base here, and to kind of bring her now into my circle after always kind of traveling that direction and kind of being in her backyard. But excited for that. Excited for the invitation to the Clearwater Invitational. First time we've been invited to that tournament. And it really is. It's like a postseason in February. And it's televised. It's a huge deal. It sells out every year. And it's great competition. We get a rematch with Arizona, along with a lot of other great teams that we'll face early on. And it'll be a good measuring stick. I've talked to some coaches about that one. Last year, I think Texas went down and went 0-5 in Clearwater. And everybody's, pressing the panic button. But they understand that tough of a schedule helps them for later on, and for them to make the run they did late. I think you kind of saw the same thing we went through. Just a tough strength of schedule. If we can learn from hurdles and obstacles and losses that occur early, then we're just going to set ourselves up for what we're looking to do in SEC play and in postseason.
Just to follow up on the schedule there, I don't know exactly what it'll look like when you guys add new teams to the conference, but no Ole Miss on the schedule will certainly kind of catch some eyes. Would you like to see a permanent opponent with them going forward?
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot. We're kind of working through some scheduling models for when we do add the 2 teams to the SEC, and it's a big discussion in terms of protecting rivalries. And we used to really try to play them even non-conference when they weren't on the SEC conference schedule, but that kind of turns into RPI discussions. And that could honestly, really, what we've learned is hurt the conference RPI for us to play each other out of conference, if that makes sense. So it really is more than just, I think, protecting the rivalry. I think overall we would love to play them every year. I think it's great for our team, for our fan base, and just for the competition. They're a great team, and that's why we went and played them this fall, knowing that we weren't able to have them on our schedule in the spring. We wanted to play them. They're close to be able to play another SEC caliber team early on and measure our team. I think we played them October. Was good. It was a good test for us. I don't know if we're going to be able to. I know we're still kind of in discussions, because then you get into, well, which other university matches with this rival, and just with the traveling parameters of it, and there's a lot that goes into it. But we would like to play them every year. I just don't know if it's going to be feasible with the new scheduling parameters we come up with.
You guys had so much fan support, especially during the Super Regional last year. How do you carry that over and make sure that News Park is packed for these games this year?
Yes, we're excited about that. I think we've heard a little bit more, I think just overall excitement now after the Super Regional from fan base, the people around town. And we want to continue that. We are a little nervous, I think, being on the road for the first 3 weeks of season, and that may be hurting that, but maybe it helps because it's cold in February and people don't always want to come out. But we are hitting the road for 3 weeks because of the construction going on at News Park. But we're hoping that when we get back, we've got 2 big tournaments. Obviously the second one featuring Oklahoma, that we can really, get the fans back, rallied around softball, and then definitely after 3 weeks on the road, we lead into 3 weeks at home. And we'd love to see the place packed. I think we introduced a lot of fans to softball last year that maybe hadn't experienced it, and just to see 2,000 people out here for a softball game in May was really special. And we want to continue that. We think once we can get someone out to a game and they can just experience the fast pace, how close it is, and just the excitement of a softball game, that we can get them hooked and get them back in the stands. So that's what we're looking to do. And our girls appreciate it. I think for them to kind of go from playing in front of smaller crowds early in the season to a sellout at the end of the year, they're really appreciative of every person that shows up to support them. And I think we try to make sure that we're saying thank you, going into the stands, going around the outfield wall, just showing that gratitude. And so that's something we'll continue to do no matter how many people we've got out there.
From the temporary stuff that they had built, for the Super Regional,
Yeah.
and the indoor facility that's being built, it seemed like there was a lot of administrative support, for the program. How much does it excite you to have an athletic director that comes from a place where he probably knows a thing or two about good softball programs?
Yes, yeah, the administrative support really has been huge. They pulled that Super Regional setup together in less than a week, and I don't know how they did it, but big credit to my immediate supervisor, Mike Ritchie, in the Bulldog Club. He really spearheaded a lot of that. The tickets was a big thing, because since we don't currently sell tickets, and how do we handle that in 5 days? But I do agree, they went above and beyond. It wasn't just, all right, we're going to host it. It's like, no, we're going to host this to the very best of our ability and give this town and this team a special experience. So I do think the administration was great there, and I'm excited for Zach Selman to come in. We actually were in grad school together at Oklahoma. His last year, my first year in that grad program, and just, to kind of see it full circle. I've followed his career since we kind of knew each other then, and what he's done, and the mentorship he's had from Joe Castiglione at OU to come here. I'm excited to see what he brings, and to kind of bring an outside perspective in, and somebody that has just been around a lot of winning, whether it's softball or just in that university in general. So really looking forward to working with him, to getting to know him better. He already wandered into practice this week. So it's been nice, for the girls to kind of get to put a name to the face and everything too. But I know he's very familiar with softball. I think everybody at that school is, and ready for him to come out and get a chance to cheer on the Bulldogs now.
You mentioned the construction and everything's going on in the indoor facility. Just give us a status report on that and how it's going.
Yes, the construction it's construction, but it really is going well. We've been lucky to have really great weather this fall, and so far in January, we're pretty much practicing outside as much as we can, just not having any batting cages like we typically would. Baseball's been great. They've worked with us. We've been able to get in the Palmero when we've needed to, and we've been able to kind of shift our class schedules around so that we can kind of work around them and around the construction and everything going on. But so far, it's in construction terms on time, I'd say. The bullpen is the biggest issue. Obviously, we need the bullpen and that left field foul gate to go back up before we play home on February 28th. And that is all on schedule. I think we're just waiting on the turf to arrive for the bullpen, and then they'll put that new fence up. But that should be done by the end of February, probably before, I would say. And they really kind of prioritize the outside of the structure so that once season starts, they're not a distraction and they're working kind of everything interior. But really excited about what we are doing there, and that was just another thing I think our administration really prioritized is let's do this right. Let's make sure we're taking care of softball and building something that we're proud of and that we're not going to have to go circle back to in a couple years to fix. So it's really honestly just surpassed what I expected in terms of the size, the amount of money being put into that facility, and really every possible thing we could ask for the student athletes. They're going to be well taken care of in there, everything that we need, and we're happy to kind of be displaced right now and just kind of work around it until it's done.
Chloe, Coach was just talking about, you know, the way you've been a captain for this team a few years now, the leadership council you've been part of. I guess, why is that something that's, you know, always been so important to you, and how much do you kind of carry that into this season with the experience that you guys have lost?
You know, I never really think too like far deep into like the leadership role. I think it's just like it's more of a natural aspect, and me and Ricketts have formed a really strong relationship over the years. So I think just using that and carrying it out onto the field. I know trust is a big thing on our team, so just having that trust trickle down from Ricketts through me through the rest of the team, I think is going to be a big aspect of the game this year.
Ricketts said you guys were, mad, upset, disappointed after the loss to Arizona. How long did it take for that feeling to subside, or has it subsided yet?
I don't think it has subsided. I think about it all the time. Yeah, I was really frustrated, upset, all of the above, because we were so close. We were 2 wins away. So thinking about that, it definitely is fuel for our fire this year.
In that time, kind of how anxious and giddy were you guys to get back out here, and still are?
Oh yeah, 100%. We are. Everybody feels it. It's like when we lost against Arizona. I think that everyone still felt it because we knew that we made it this far and we can keep pushing this far, and just continue to keep making history and just lay down the carpet for the future generations. So yeah, I think that everybody is still feeling it to this day.
You talked about that anger. How did that kind of bleed into the off season? Did it have any kind of effect on you guys' preparation for this year?
Oh yes, we've definitely upped our standards. We have Ricketts has set a lot of standards for us on the field, off the field, just kind of making us not just a better athlete but a better person overall. And it's been challenging, but we know that in order to keep moving forward and to keep getting better as a team and as individuals, that we just gotta keep pushing ourselves and holding each other accountable together.
To watch that fan turnout change throughout the season and ultimately be sold out in the end, how cool was that, and kind of what is your pitch to get people to keep investing in softball?
It was, I'm not gonna lie, it was definitely, we were all in shock just how many people came to the games, because, we'll pack out the stands, but it was packed out the stands and then some. So seeing people waiting in line to come into our games, it was unbelievable. So I would love to see that just more as the year progresses. And if we have the support of everybody around us, Starkville, and people who aren't even here watching and tuning in, I think that it'll really be a big difference in our season as well.
Between the fan turnout and the new facility you guys are getting, I guess, what's it kind of been like for you watching, where the program has gone from when you first got here to, where it is today and where it will be in a few years? It's
been a complete turnaround. Since my freshman year, even since I committed in 2016, from 2016 to 2023, it's just been a huge difference. I think that this program and the facilities and the coaching, I think that just all around it's gotten 100% better, and we just kept learning and kept on growing, and I think that mindset it just keeps getting passed down, because I know my freshman year, our seniors and the coaches, they did a good job at just instilling what it means to be a Mississippi State athlete and what it means to carry on the Hell State traditions, and I think that we've been doing a good job, but just keep turning that over.
What do you think of the roster and the lineup that you guys are bringing back this year?
I think that I'm really excited for the roster and the lineup. I think that we have a very athletic team, very talented team. I think that we've also been working really hard in the off season, so I'm excited to see all of that pay off. Also excited just to see what lineup we come up with, because there's so many possibilities for every single position, because we're just very talented up and down the lineup. So I'm excited to see how that turns out.
There's
Seen
an
a lot.
AK healthy, by the way? She's
Yeah.
back, right?
Yeah. She's been back and doing okay.
You've seen a lot of recruits come in now in your time here. What are you most excited about this group?
I think this group, I think that they came in ready to play, and they're all like phenomenal, from the pitchers to the fielders, the hitters. I think that when I look back at when my class came in as a freshman, I feel like they're two completely different classes. Like, me and Jackie talk about it all the time. We're like, how are they literally amazing? And we came in here, it's like we forgot how to play softball. So, they're awesome athletes and people all around.
Got time for one or two more?
Coach Ricketts mentioned that Zach Selman stopped by practice earlier this week. Kind of what are your impressions of the new athletic director, and how much does it mean to have someone that comes from a school where softball matters so much?
I actually didn't realize that's who that was when he stopped at our practice, because it just seemed so like normal. He's just saying hey to everybody, and I was like, oh hey, and then they're like, that's our new. I was like, oh, that is, well, yeah. But I think that it's gonna be a huge, very beneficial for us as a softball program and as a school, to have that support backing us up.
What do you think the non-conference schedule will teach you guys after, what last year kind of helped going toward the end of the year?
Definitely just starting off strong. So I know last year we didn't have the strongest starts because, we played Oklahoma and UCLA, which I think that it's beneficial for us because, it kind of teaches us what we're doing and what we need to do. So I think that if we just kind of come out the gates ready to rock and roll, I think that we're going to be doing all right.
Ashley, just talk about your progression, and you're going to get a lot more responsibility in the circle this year. Just talk about that and how you've been getting prepared for that.
Okay. Well, it's not just me. We have Kinley as well and Grace Fagan. I think all of us together, working together, we're going to be pretty good. And of course, we have Bree, and then we have 2 incoming freshmen who are really, really good too as well. And so I can't wait to see like all 7 of us like come together, because everyone has a different part, and so I just can't wait to see.
Yeah, Ricketts mentioned Macy and Reese. What do you think of them so far?
Macy and Reese.
I'm sorry.
Josie and
Reese
Reese?
and Josie. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, they do not play like freshmen, I will tell you that right now. They are ready to get after it. I know Josie's kind of like a little bit like me. Of course, she gets a little nervous, but I have to talk to her. I am kind of like an Annie to her, I guess. Annie was like this for me, and she helped me out, and so I'm like helping Josie out. I'm like, you got it. You're gonna be fine no matter what. And then Reese, she is in her own zone. Like she's got it down pat. So yeah.
You and Annie obviously developed a really close relationship while she was here. Talk about what that's kind of developed into, and what has she kind of told you about stepping into your new role?
Well, Annie she's always told me like to breathe, and she's like, you don't have to fill in my shoes. Like, I know, of course, those are some big shoes to fill, and I know that, but we both know like we're 2 totally different pitchers, and she works one way and I work another. And I've talked to her plenty of times. I still talk to her too. And so she just keeps telling me like all I have to do is just keep talking and just walk with confidence. And so, yeah.
Coach Ricketts had talked about, the success you guys had last year of making it to that first super regional, but, when you guys lost, there was still, anger amongst the team. You guys wanted to go that next step. I guess how much has that kind of fueled you guys to be able to balance what you accomplished, but also kind of have that fire of what's kind of the next step?
There is definitely still, I guess, someone coming to our field and taking that away from us, knowing that we were a couple of games away from the World Series. I know sometimes when someone brings it up, we'll talk about it like, oh my gosh, like we were 2 games away, like I still can't believe that happened. And, like, let's not let that happen again. Like, let's keep going and, let's keep fighting. And I know we were tired, of course, it's the end of the season, everyone's tired, but that's just that time where we all have to push and just, keep fighting.
How much did those wins over Florida State make you guys feel like, we can beat anybody, we can go anywhere and win any game?
I feel like after that win, I mean, we can do anything. Like, no matter what it is, as long as we have fun, that is how we play. That is our game, having fun. And I know after that night, whenever it was like 1 a.m. and we're fixing to play FSU, and I told Maddie, I said, that morning, I told Maddie before we were fixing to play them, I was like, I just have this good feeling. Like, let's just go out there and have fun. Like, no matter what happens, let's just have fun. So we go out there, we're having fun, and, but, yeah. So, yeah. Sorry, I didn't want to go into, like, a whole story.
That's fine.
What have you done during the off-season to improve your game velocity or technique, or what exactly maybe? if anything?
I've been working, we still do the same thing. I mean, of course, there are times and there are days where I do my own thing when it's not even at the field. I'll do it in my room, like spinning wise, and there's like I have different types of, I guess, I don't know what it's called. Like I have like a big ball and like a really small ball, and I'll just work on my spins. And because I want to make sure they're tight and I want to make sure they're ready for this season, and so that my pitching is good. So
Coach Ricketts talked about your love for the state of Mississippi and Mississippi State as a whole. Now that you've been here for a decent amount of time, do you still look at yourself sometimes and go, I'm a Mississippi State athlete, that's insane?
yes, I still do, because, well, coming from, I mean, I live here. I live in Mississippi. I'm only an hour away from here, and this is a school I've always wanted to be at. I was in red, blue, and white at my high school, and I'm so happy I am in maroon and white now. But yeah, and now I love being here, and I couldn't imagine myself anywhere else.
With the kind of amazing fan support that you guys got at the end of the season, how do you hope that carries into this season, especially with the renovations and everything?
I hope more people come. I mean, it's free. I mean, why wouldn't you want to come here? But I know that I'm trying to get like some of my tribe, they'll come here, and I'm so glad when I see their faces, and of course everybody else too. And so I hope that with the run that we had last year, they'll keep coming, because I mean, we're gonna be something.
What's it like? What was it like seeing Kenley make the leap that she made last year and do so well, down the stretch? And
Wait, sorry?
what was it like seeing Kenley Hawk make kind of the jump that she did last year? And
Oh, it
find
was
herself?
amazing. I'm so glad she finally let herself loose. And I've always told her that she had it in her. I know sometimes as pitchers, of course, we can get down on each other and then or whatever, but I was always there in her ear, no, Kinley, you got this, you're good enough to be here. And I know she does the same for me. But whenever that Ole Miss weekend and she just let it loose, I was like, yeah, this girl, she's got it now.
What's it like yourself when you go through those moments where you're questioning yourself, or how do you get through that?
Usually when I question myself, I don't really know what I do, honestly. I guess I just have to tell myself, I deserve to be here. I have worked my way up for this, and worked my way up for this, and then basically telling myself when I get on the mound, and if say there's a home run, and then I'm kind of having negative thoughts about myself, I'm no, it's just one ball. My teammates got me, my defenses they have me, so there's no need to worry. We're gonna get this, and it's gonna be okay. So I just brush it off, or try to at least.
All right, anything else for Aspen?
With that experience that you have and being a leader for the team, what's kind of the message to the newcomers and upcoming freshmen and stuff?
Let's see, because it's me, Chloe, and Maddie, and Kat. As being one of the leaders, I guess I have never been the one to speak out. I'm not that type of person. I will sometimes, but not all the time. But usually half the time I will take some of them, and then I'll talk to them individually, because that's just how I am. And usually I set an example of just not saying anything. And so but I try to be uplifting for them, for all of them, and I want them to know that no matter what, that it's going to be okay, even if it's not their time to shine. It's going to be okay, because that's how I was, and I had to learn, and I had to work. So yeah.
Paige, we've asked everyone so far, but, you know, how do you kind of balance the, you know, the success that you guys had last season with, you know, the fire that's left of understanding that, you know, Arizona won here and you guys were just a couple games away from, you know, making it to the World Series?
Yeah, it definitely lit a fire under us, I think, especially being at our home field, and we're just going to have to grow from what our successes last season and then just build from there and, you know, just have another successful season.
What was it like to see this place full, and then how do you hope that carries forward into next season the season with fan support?
It was a crazy experience, especially like with baseball going on. You know, a lot of people typically go to baseball because, you know, national champions, whatever, which great for them. And then we have our fans that are just strictly softball fans. And then all of a sudden they hear us go to the super regionals and they're like, you know what, they're Mississippi State. We're going to go out and support them and have all of our fans here to support us, and like just knowing that everybody does care and they're here for us. And it was really exciting, and just hearing them yell definitely got you pumped up and fired up.
You know, there's a lot of baseball start times that conflict with softball start times. What's your pitch to fans? Why go here instead?
I don't know. That's a tough one, because I mean, we both have our little like differences, but I mean, I don't know. That's a good one. Let's see. I just feel like everything here is more sped up, and personally, I feel like it's a little more entertaining and fun to watch.
Someone else said it's free, so.
Yeah, that is also very true. That is also true.
There's a nice little mix of newcomers and new veterans. Just talk about the team in general and how's it all coming together this year?
Definitely a bunch of new faces this year. They're coming along really well. I'm excited to see them and see how they react to this whole new world for them. But I feel like the new faces and the old faces mesh pretty well together, and I feel like we're going to come together as a whole, and we're going to have some things to prove.
I know she's still around the program, but what's it going to be like, you know, looking into the plate and not seeing Mia catching?
I was actually just thinking about that the other day. We had hitting groups, and she was over there just coaching us and talking to us. I was like, this is so weird. I was like, I do not like you not being right here with me. Like, it's crazy to think about, but she's definitely a very big asset for us, and I'm very thankful to have her here because, yeah, she's considered a coach now, but to have that like really good connection with her, it just helps out a lot, like teaching wise.
A lot of new facilities and new things happening around the program. It's kind of someone that's been around the block here at Mississippi State. Where do you see it from where you started and where it's going?
Well, okay, goodness. So I committed the fall of my freshman year of high school, and that's when this stadium was being built. So when I first came here, it was just a construction zone. Everything was like a mess. We didn't even get to have the camp here. We had it over at the rec fields. But to see it from then to showing up on campus and seeing how it was, and then she hit us with like, oh, yeah, we're tearing our indoor facility down and building it up. I said, oh, okay. So to see it from being a complete construction zone to now is completely different. It's crazy.